Greetings, Rabbi Box back with my podcast for this week. I want to start my podcast by saying how grateful I am to have published my first book. And I say my first book because I do intend to publish again. I don't know if it'll be the same kind of book, but there definitely is a fiction story coming in the next couple of years, I hope. But this particular volume that I wrote and was published by my good friend Rabbi Menachem Creditor is entitled Seeking Sanctuary, a Collection of Prayers and Poetry by Rabbi Aaron Boxt, of course, and you can buy this on Amazon. So I wanted to say that up front. What I want to talk about for the next few minutes is something that has been going on for several days. It's actually been going on a lot longer than that. If you've ever heard the term blood libel, this is something that every Jewish person in the world knows. The blood libel is the attempt to explain something that it's not sensible in order to blame the Jews for something. For example, during the Middle Ages, churches, there was a blood libel against the Jews in which church leaders believed that Jews were killing babies, Christian babies, and using their blood to make matzah. And this kind of blood libel has been around for centuries. It was used during the Holocaust by Hitler to try and explain away or give credence to what he was doing. Well, there was just this past week, there was an article written by an op-ed written by Nicholas Kristof for the New York Times. And before I say anything about the op-ed, I want to make it clear that the rape or abuse or violence towards anyone, no matter where they're from, who they are, or anything like that, is horrible and unacceptable. But this particular op-ed outlines and gives examples without really any credible sources, or I should say that the only sources that are quoted are from anti-Israel or from organizations that have a history of being anti-Israel. And again, there are no credible sources in that respect. But this terrible, awful article, op-ed, speaks about alleged rapes and tortures that were going on in Israeli prisons against Palestinians. Now, I'm not suggesting for a moment that Jews don't make mistakes, that Jews, that there aren't bad people out there that are Jewish, for sure. I think that Ben Gvir, who is member of Knesset, who is in charge of the prison system in Israel, I think is a terrible, horrible human being, not because of the fact that he's Jewish, but obviously because of the fact that he believes really that violence is the right answer, and he has neglected his responsibilities towards protecting Arab Israeli towns. He has gone out of his way to have specifically help out settlers, but not protecting the Palestinians that live in the territories. So Ben Gvir I wouldn't say he's an evil person, but he's a person that has done harmful things. But this article, this op-ed that was written by Kristof, is so one-sided, and while it does mention several other places in the world, including Hamas raping Israelis, that this has happened in other places, he just spends the entire op-ed basically throwing out these huge blood libels, including the idea that Israeli soldiers would train dogs to rape Palestinians. That is disgusting and horrible, and there's no evidence of this. There's no proof out there. So while I do believe that there are people in the Jewish community that do make mistakes and do bad things, this kind of thing is so incredibly inappropriate. And for a newspaper that has the authenticity I used to believe of the New York Times carries their literary responsibilities to publish this without any kind of mention of it's inappropriate. I will tell you that I believe that Palestinians have the right to live in their homes in a peaceful place without feeling like they're going to be treated and tortured like prisoners, but so do Israelis. And and they can't be one or the other. Both have to be true. And if there's bad people in Hamas doing terrible, terrible things, that needs to be dealt with. And if there are Israelis that are doing terrible things, there needs to be they need to be brought up on charges. There need to be court cases. And this judicial system in Israel, while it's not perfect, has a setup that allows for these kinds of things to be tried in court, and then people are punished in the appropriate way according to the law. And I just think that Nicholas Kristof should be ashamed of this work, and the New York Times should also be ashamed for publishing it. Again, I want to make it very clear, like I did at the beginning. Violence and rape of any kind is 100% unacceptable from either side, from anywhere, from anyone. But this kind of article is just a blood libel, looking for more reasons, giving the opportunity for more people to look to the Jews and say all of the terrible things that they are going to say, and they have said, and they will continue to say because of the blood libels like this. May we all come to a place where these things don't exist anymore, and we can all live in peace. Shabbat Shalom.